Yo, 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 what's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back, welcoming you to Nerds on Culture, number 27 in the series of nerd shows. And this night, on Monday, December 19th, 2022, we are featuring a little bit of a backdrop on the Eternals, huh? A long-standing comic and recently had its first film that displays the beginning of the Marvel universe, huh? It's basically translated into Homo Immortalis, the Eternals, and created originally by Jack Kirby, man. Jack Kirby was an artist that came out in the late 40s and early 50s, and he had done tremendous work for not only Marvel, but he did it for DC. And his characters had an elegance to them as they were drawn fresh off the pages. And it is with pleasure that we get a chance to talk about not only the film, but a little bit on the comics. And I have to honestly admit, when I was coming up as a kid, when I saw the artwork for these comics, it was so futuristic and weird and psychedelic that I didn't gravitate toward it as a kid, but it was very interesting nonetheless. So we're going to talk about this a little bit this evening as I introduce my co-host of the show. Welcome everybody out there. We got my man Drew Titan in the building. What's going on, Drew? How you doing this evening, bro?
We blessed and highly favored, brother. I'm great, thank you much.
Yes, sir, man. What a great moment to take some time out and to talk about these characters. We talked about behind the scenes. We talked about the Eternals and what we got from the comics, what we and how just a lot of this stuff, like, and to see it on the big screen now, see it all come to life, these characters and everything. What did it mean for you when you heard that there was going to be a film, and then to find out that it's like, okay, they're making a film, but a lot of people don't even know what's up with the Eternals. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what was that like for you?
Well, honestly, when they started the MCU, to be very honest, did you really think it was going to go past a decade? I never thought
No.
and it went so fast. It went so fast, and they actually took the time out to build a universe. I really didn't think they would go this far, but they did. And did they pull it off? Myself, I'm more loyal to the book. I don't like the super duper changes that they do. In the day and age that we live in, they have to be more politically correct with casting and writing, almost to the point, not almost to the point where it can be downright annoying. But some things, it's hit or miss with some things. Marvel Phase 4 was more miss than hit. But I was shocked when they said they was going to release the Eternals movie. I said, wow, they really going this far? But then if you think about it, they have to go this far, because how do you explain everything else going around? You can't go to the intergalactic stuff without discussing the Eternals, because we're purists like you and I, we're going to be like, well, you're up in space now. Where's the Eternals? They're there. And they did it. I love how they pulled it off. Casting,
Yeah.
I was grumpy
They try
at it.
too hard sometimes, right? With diversity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, just give us like off the pages. Because it's like, if you really want to put it in a simple way of explanation, when George Lucas did the Star Wars films, he wasn't worried about nationality so much as telling the tales of these space characters.
Right.
And some of them were under heavy makeup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you had no idea who was playing that role. You saw the name and the credits and everything, but it really, and I think Marvel has kind of gotten away from some of the things that they did very great early on. And we've talked about this with Phase 4 being a horrible, representation of what we've come to love under their products. And not to take anything sideways or anything, but I believe with Warner Brothers DC hiring James Gunn over to their away from Marvel, I think is going to continue over there. And I don't like that, because one of the things, and you and I have discussed this with DC, was DC always seemed to be on the level. It was more like realistic. Their stories were more serious, drama and character driven. And Marvel was always a little loosey and jokey and stuff like that. The only difference with Marvel is that Stan Lee believed in writing for college level. You may have had to look some words up to
not to cut you off, but for those of you in the chat, have you ever read the original Silver Surfer? You need an associate's degree to get through.
It's like
I couldn't read it when I was a kid.
And stuff,
I couldn't get through it when I was a kid. I couldn't get through it. I was like, what is this? I was like not 4. I was like maybe 8 or 9. I said, I can't read this. But it was such a cool character. It's a silver guy on a surfboard. You understand? Yeah. So the writing, they took it serious. And not to harp on Marvel Phase 4, but I felt disrespected in Marvel Phase 4. A little disrespect. I don't want to say disrespected. I gave the Eternals movie a chance because I'm a fan. Was it a horrible film? No. But casting, I got beef with the casting a little bit.
Casting may have been very questionable, but I will say this about it. I liked the story that was told. Right. I did like that. And remember, we had a smidget of it in the original Guardians of the Galaxy film. Yeah. And then also, we do know that eventually Galactus is coming.
Oh yeah.
So these are the groundwork being laid for characters like that. But to just get back to Gunn for a moment, the arrogance that Marvel has developed that allowed Phase 4 to be what it was, and I do believe they're going to have to rein that back in, and they may very well try to start doing that with Phase 5. I'm hearing some things, and even Chris Hemsworth has come out, and I mentioned that to you before, that he's spoken his displeasure about, he doesn't even want to come back as Thor anymore unless they're going to do something really interesting with the character going forward.
Good.
And now that Gunn has gone over to WB, they've already begun with the arrogance there, because the whole way that they handled the Henry Cavill situation, and they basically have told the people, just calm down. You're going to see everything's going to be good. We got a plan and this and that. Everybody got a plan, like Mike Tyson said once, until they get punched in the face. And the thing about James Gunn is, I believe his arrogance is going to assist in what they're trying to do to start off on the wrong foot. Because there is no way in any walk of life in the workplace do you bring a subject in, put them out there, and tell them, let everybody know that, you're our guy, you're going to do this, and then you turn around just a couple weeks later and fire him.
Mm-hmm.
And for no reason. And that's what they did to Henry Cavill. And I'm telling you, as sure as the name on this channel be Stormybman, that's going to come back and bite them in the rear end, because that was totally unjust. They didn't have to bring him back. They didn't, because he had been off the scene for well over 7-8 years. So they didn't have to do that. And to do that to that man, and now I'm hearing, check this out, and we will get to the Eternals, people, but I'm hearing that not only is basically the whole thing being rebooted, with the exception of his 2 projects that he worked on, the Suicide Squad, and the other one that was the TV series. What was it? The guy with the helmet.
You talking about well, I'm having a brain fart. You talking about on HBO Max. John Cena as Peacemaker.
Yeah. Peacemaker. So those are only ones that's not being rebooted or recast. Come on, those are his shows though.
Yeah.
Those are his. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, really? You mean to tell me out of all of that work that's being done, and let me, like I said, we will get to the Eternals. But check it out, bro. What about these 4 movies they got coming out next year? Why should anybody give a damn? Why? They got 4 movies coming out next year, including fresh cameos that were shot by Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill that they have since removed again since they fired Cavill. They took the scenes out again, so he won't be a part of that. Why even release the damn films? Seriously, why?
What did Henry Cavill do so wrong?
You know what this looks like to me? And I'm going to just say it frankly, man, because we don't hide nothing out here. I don't think Henry bent over for somebody.
Oh, shoot.
I'm serious.
I'm not going to deny that, man. There's a lot of that crap going on. Hollywood's a very bugged out place.
I don't think Henry bent over for somebody.
Look, we all know, you know what? I've heard some things weird about the music industry. You ever known about a one-hit wonder and he just vanished? At the top of the game, he just vanished. Rick Moranis was at the top of his game when he just walked away. There's a model, supermodel. Y'all remember a supermodel about 20 years ago by the name of Tyson Beckford? Remember him? I heard a story about his cousin wanting a model.
Yes.
You know that story, right?
I know that story, absolutely.
And they went to this party, and he basically told them, you know, to get to a certain level, you got to do certain things. And he was like, wait a minute. He walked into a party and was like, he kind of like put it together like Lego and said, you know, no thanks. And it's one of those things where you'll never work in this town again type thing. And who are you to be spreading that news, because no one will believe you, because you are you and we are we. And some people say, you know what, it's either this or the hood. So what's the little booty action? Look, man. Look, and the same reason why you look at people and say, why are they famous? Why do they keep getting work?
What's the compromise?
What's the compromise? There's a reason why, you know, Spike Lee is where he is. And I'm sure if you sit down and tell him, they'll drown him out and say, oh, he's just racist, he don't like white people. But sit down and talk to Spike Lee, I bet you could tell you some stuff. I remember when Will Smith had a conversation with Denzel Washington. And I think the movie was 6 Degrees of Separation that Will Smith starred in. And Will Smith played a homosexual character. And at first, from what I heard, they want to do a whole love scene with Will Smith and his love interest. And from what I heard, from what I remember, he spoke to Denzel and asked him, should I do this? And Denzel pretty much told him, no, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. Stand on your square. And from what I remember in the film, they did something to make you get the picture. They didn't show it, but you got the picture of what happened. And Denzel always notoriously worked with Spike Lee. And he's always had the reputation of being a man's man. So with Henry Cavill, I mean, look at him. He's a Adonis, you know? So I could imagine that these goons in Hollywood want to get their mitts on him. That's a sacrifice so they can have something on you.
Yep.
And the reason why, from what I understand, he showed up in the Black Adam movie was because The Rock had to pull some strings and get that done. But there's only so much he can do.
Yeah.
You know. So,
and did you hear the latest about The Rock?
No.
The Rock has unfollowed WB and Black Adam on social media.
They're gonna recast Black Adam.
Yep.
You know what they might do? They might kill him and resurrect his son. Because in the movie, he wasn't the original Black.
Right.
It was his son.
Right.
So they might kill him and resurrect his man. Come on, bro. So it's a soft reboot for DC.
It's a hard reboot because everyone from listen to these actors.
That's what they called it, a soft reboot.
Right. Everyone from Cavill to Affleck to Gal Gadot, they're gone. Ezra Miller blew his own career out the water. Ray Fisher was done because he had discrimination issues against the former regime of WB. So it's like it's blown up. And I think Gunn is coming in as an opportunist more than a person that's thinking that he's going to lead this into a new frontier, which is why I said what I said. When you're not doing something with sincerity, let me tell you, it don't work, man. It don't work. And there just like you and I feel about this, I'm gonna start sending you some links to a couple of guys who got channels, and this is all they do, and they talking like we talking about it. And they got far vast, deeper information and history because they've been up for a long time. And I was like listening to one of them today, and I was like, I can't believe everything he's saying. I agree with it 1000%. And I know that you would too, because we have this mindset toward how these things should go with our culture from our childhood, the characters we grew up loving and everything. And this gentleman in particular, he's talking about James Gunn. He's like, dude, no. What he's gonna do? Why couldn't, if things needed to be done the correct way, why couldn't you just go forward from here and do things? You see, because you have people established, people you go to the theater, you know who you're looking at and everything. But that new executive, Zaslav, this is what's also being said behind the scenes. He's being used behind the scenes as the real mastermind of this, pretending openly that he wanted Cavill back and this and that. Because remember, he was the one. Superman has to be the center of what we do now and this and that. That's what he was saying. But he hired Safran and Gunn to do the dirty work, because the name actors who are playing these major characters now have hit a certain economic standing. So it's like what they would require a purse per film is a huge chunk of a budget of each film. So if a guy is making $15 to $20 million to play Batman or to play Superman or to play Wonder Woman, they got to pay that. And remember, some of these films have been tanking, so they're not making what was projected. Instead of them trying to make a better film, they're just going to cut the heads off of the actors and paste some new ones on there and give you the same old shit again. No, man. No, we ain't going for that. And James Gunn been talking real spicy in social media lately, because he mad now because people don't. He see that the people. He didn't think people were supporting Henry like they did and everything. He's starting to see it now, and I think the real him is gonna come out very soon. Very soon.
Who today could play Superman other than him? He was perfect, man. He damn near looked like if he could have came out of nowhere and told me he was related to Christopher Reeves, and I'd have believed him.
Listen, Warner Brothers pulled this during the time that Christopher Reeve was playing Superman, but this is what they did. Instead of recasting him, which they couldn't do because he was Superman back then, right?
Yeah.
They dummied down the money on the budget for the special effects for his films. It got worse by the film. By the time you got Superman 4, they were using cut and paste from other films, putting it in the backdrops and stuff. The special effects when Golan Globus was making that 4th Superman film, The Quest for Peace, it was horrible. It was horrible. It had nothing to do because Christopher Reeve was like a stage actor. You know, he was a very good actor. They just cut everywhere but around his salary because they had to pay him to play Superman. But what they did was they cut corners on everything else, including cutting out certain actors like Margot Kidder, who was supposed to be Lois Lane, and she's in the film for like 2 minutes, and then she ain't in the rest of the movie.
That's right.
You see? They were doing it then, but doing it a different way. We ain't sleep. You know what? We were kids then, but we grown men now. And we speaking on it so the younger generation will know exactly what the hell is going on.
Ain't that some crap?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, she was in the mid. Oh, man, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
They brought Richard Pryor in Superman 3, and he made more money than Christopher Reeve and everybody else because at that time, that was when Richard Pryor was really hot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But they dummied down the special effects and everything. They couldn't even get a real Superman villain in the film. They've been talking about putting Brainiac in the Superman film since then because there was supposed to be Brainiac in that film with Christopher Reeve, and it made it some kind of funky computer that Richard Pryor's Gus Gorman created this. He was supposed to be a computer genius. It was supposed to be Brainiac. But you see how they did? They cut the corners, bro. They're doing it all over again now. It's 2022, and the game is still the same.
And they're goofing off. How do you goof off Superman? He's like he is the most important character. He's the most important character. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, that's all right. They got how many flying around? The television show. They got 3 of those guys. They got the guy from Smallville walking around here. They'll find somebody. But keep playing with the fans' emotions, and we will show you by way of our money.
Especially nowadays, because we have so many other options. And there's, from what I just heard earlier today, because I hadn't even checked HBO Max lately, but supposedly Black Adam is up on HBO Max now. And if it is, I'm going to check it after the show tonight. I'm going to watch it again on HBO Max because I didn't get a chance to go see it a second time in the theater. I'm going to support The Rock, and I'm going to support Cavill, and WBDCU can go down the hill. That's the way I feel about it.
I'm sending you something in a private chat real quick.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's how I feel about that, bro. Big time. But we could get on to the Eternals now. Oh man.
Yeah. I just saw it just now.
Wow. Okay.
Back to back.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, the Eternals was a creation by Jack Kirby, man. I think dating all the way back to the first appearance of characters from the Eternals appeared in Red Raven Comics in May of 1940. Okay. And then we had in a another retcon, they had Marvel Boy issue #1 from August 1950. You had the Uranian Eternals. That was a retcon. Then in Iron Man #55 in October 72, they made another comeback and they called them the Titanian Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
But they have been around for a very long time. And I had put that artwork up there originally that showed some of the guys. You know, Jack Kirby's artwork, man.
The king.
I loved how he drew men and women, you know, because all of the characters had their own distinct look. You know, the women look like movie star actresses and the guys look like Charlton Heston and them dudes, you know.
The men look like men and the women look like women.
Exactly, you know. And they didn't all look the same. You know, they had variety and differences in their features. But, you know, it went from this up into 2022. This is what we got out of that.
I mean, okay. I mean, you know,
the girl over there on the far right in the red,
mm-hmm.
you know, she's from Chicago.
Oh,
and, yeah, she's from Chicago, and she's deaf in real life.
Mm.
And she played in the film. She played a deaf. I'm trying to say it properly. I don't want to be disrespectful, but she played Makari, who was a deaf personality for real. And you know, she was a good actress in the film, but she's from Chicago, man.
Wow, man. I mean, I guess, you know, when you look at this, one thing you can take away from the old comic books and old cartoons is you didn't really see people of color. And I guess as we've moved on, you know, we were like, hey, man, even when the superheroes are fighting in the street, you ain't see nothing but white people, you know, and you see white men with hats. And when they get knocked over, the hats don't come off their damn head,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But, you know, you could be more politically correct, and, you know, you can have, you know, people of all right here. This is like all races, cultures, and creeds. You got it right here. So I understand,
right?
You know, but I got used to it. When I saw the cast, I said, what are they doing? But I guess you got to get used to it. It wasn't a bad film.
Now, what I didn't like is how they took the character Fastos, Brian Tyree Henry, the brother that was in the film. I didn't like how they took him and turned him to the other side. You know, I didn't like that at all, because
you knew it was coming. It was one of the characters. I just don't like the fact that it was a brother.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that it was him. And then when you look at what he was, as far as what he created as, you know, the Eternal he was, you know, he was like the god of tech.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of what he did in there, you would later see years later, Tony Stark is doing things that were quite similar.
Yeah.
In his lab. You see how they channeled that? And I thought that was very interesting. I actually picked that up when I was in the theater watching the film. I don't know if you did, but I was like,
yeah, I did.
I was like, yeah, this is kind of like.
I picked it up and I got kind of grouchy, because I was like, so Tony Stark has a bit of an eternal seed in him that comes from a gay Eternal, a gay black guy. I'm like, man, you know, what the fuck are they doing? Why'd they do that, man? Come on, man.
It was an interesting casting too, wasn't it? I mean, the gentleman that played Gilgamesh, the Korean actor Ma Dong Sik, and he was okay as Gilgamesh, but it's like, why did they? I don't know. He seemed to be a stronger character than what was portrayed in the film, but then his demise was like, it didn't seem fitting, you know. And there were other characters like Ajax, played by Salma Hayek.
Now, why the fuck, man?
Huh?
Because you know Ajax is a man in the comic.
Right.
Why did they do that?
I don't know, man.
I
don't know.
Bro. When I read, now that part right there, I didn't know about the brother until I saw the movie. But when I read the cast, I said, is that a misprint? I called my boy. I said, Salma's playing Ajax. He said, how? And we read it and read it and read it. And then the more we read, the more people were annoyed with it. They were like, wait a minute, how? Ajax is a man. Look it up. Look it up. Why would they do that? That's every bit as frustrating as they made, a woman in Black Widow. A Taskmaster.
Taskmaster, yeah.
That is a beautiful B character that should have been an A character. Ruined. Marvel just forget about it. Just forget. I don't ever want to see the character again. They ruined Taskmaster. And now Ajax is a woman. Man, look, we have a multiverse. Kill the, this is going to sound bad. Kill those two and bring some other ones from another damn universe. I'm sick of this shit, man. This is crazy. And then, how about this for consistency? The Fantastic Four. Michael B. Jordan was the Human Torch. You don't do that. You don't do that, man. Why would you do that? You don't do that. Johnny Storm is a white guy. That's it. That's it. They got to leave my childhood alone. Stop it. Stop. Then you give us a Black Eternal and make him a booty chaser. Come on, dogs.
That's like turning Blade into my man that played Hellboy. What's his name?
Who was actually in Blade 2, who got killed.
Yeah, he was in Blade 2. But you know, if you took him and made him Blade, you know, it's like, that's jacked up. What are you doing? It's like, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah. Disney is on in Salute the Reve, bro. Disney, just stop. Leave stuff alone. You know why? Because Marvel's universe is laid out already. Don't change anything. You could shorten it up, tighten it up, and just bring it to reality. You don't have to create anything. The stories are there already. You're trying to reinvent the wheel, and we don't appreciate it. Ridiculous. Yeah, Ron Perlman. Thank you. That's what you're
Ron Perlman, yeah.
Perlman was played.
Thank you for that.
Oh, man.
And you see, when we talk about these characters and everything, it's because they're changing what we knew, you know, what we were familiar with. That's like, you know, I grew up liking Kung Fu films, but if you're gonna have some Japanese dude playing Bruce Lee, no, it ain't right. You know what I mean? Just like this guy that Ang Lee want his son to play Bruce Lee. I don't think that's gonna be too good.
I don't trust Ang Lee.
And yeah, Brokeback Lee. You know what I mean? So it's like they just keep on doing it to us, man. But I'll tell you something. They don't get my box office. Nope, they don't get my box office on this foolishness.
Man, they got away with Jason Scott Lee in Dragon because he looked Chinese, but he was Hawaiian.
Right.
They got away with it. They got away with it.
Out of all the Asian dudes that could have actually played the role, and it's not so much about getting somebody to look like them anymore, right? Because we've seen that they
Simple.
don't really care about that. But you want someone that can perform and someone who can act. Donnie Yen been wanting to play Bruce Lee since way before he played Yip Man,
Yeah.
and they always passed him over. And you know who else that wanted to play Bruce Lee but didn't get the chance? That dude Mike Moe, who was in the what was that? He was in a Street Fighter film, and that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Quentin Tarantino film. He played Bruce Lee in that.
Yeah.
You know,
that was well, there was some Hollywood twists to that, but I heard that was a true, not really a.
It was a take on some things that had
exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Because the guy that Brad Pitt was playing was supposed to be Gene LaBelle.
Who's a monster from what I heard.
Right.
He was an absolute monster.
And he did give Bruce Lee fits in real life on the set of The Green Hornet. He had this thing he used to do where he could choke people out because he was an expert wrestler and judo man. And Gene LaBelle used to choke people out, man. I mean, literally, like before we started knowing what it was in MMA and stuff, he was doing it to people way back then. And they'd be literally unconscious, and he'll lay them in the corner and put a cover over them. And they'd be sleeping it off.
I heard he would do that, like when he was teaching the class, because he wants you to know how it felt. That's what I heard. And the bell was the real deal.
Yep.
Oh, could you highlight that? What Reve said right there. He mentions a character that I really, really like. He says, "How do you guys feel about Jason Momoa? Didn't really want to play Aquaman." But it seems like he's excited that he going to play. He's playing Lobo.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what he should have played. Because looking at him, that's the first thing I said. So he looks more like Lobo.
That's the only casting that I really question from looking back. Well, no, it was Aquaman casting and the Flash casting. I think that because it was Zack Snyder who did the casting for those films, and I think he dropped the ball on those two. Aquaman should not have looked anything like Momoa, and the Flash should not have looked anything like Ezra Miller. No.
Yeah. You gotta be true to the character. Flash is a redhead in the comic book, if I'm not mistaken. And Momoa, although he pulled off Aquaman because they gotta understand it, he pulled it off because they force-fed it to us. There's a dozen guys walking around with blonde hair in Hollywood that could have played Aquaman. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that. Now, Lobo, he reminds me of more of a Lobo. But I'm wondering, in this, what they call a soft reboot, how they're gonna pull that off. I'm curious, because now he's Aquaman. How they gonna pull this shit off?
And his movie is the last movie to come out. It's coming out Christmas 2023.
Aquaman? And how's he gonna transition to freaking Lobo after that?
They pushed that film all the way back almost 2 years, man.
Oh my God, man. What
it
are
was
they
supposed
doing?
to come out this year.
This is ridiculous. What are they, man? Okay. And you see, this is why we get so aggravated. See, this is why shows like this was important, because we're the fans, man. We pay the money. And this is also our childhood. This is deeper than just going to the flicks and saying, oh yeah, this is a good sci-fi. No, we grew up loyal to this thing. But when I say Marvel, not as much as DC, I'm more of a Marvel guy. When I say Marvel got thousands of my dollars before they put out one film, I'm talking about comic books, Comic Cons, taking pictures and with the artists and spending money, countless hours in front of the TV shows, the series. You know, they've gotten my money and my attention, man. So please do me the service and do right by me. Yeah, man. God dog it. Just no respect for us. Hold your money. Like he hold your vote. You don't like the candidate? Hold your money. It's ridiculous, man.
That's just like, Marvel, they dropped the ball. They brought us that damn Black Widow movie after the character died already, right? When it was plenty ample time to stick a Black Widow film in there, you know, before, and they
Yeah.
didn't do it. And why would you wait till after the character, you done built this big old dramatic point up and we lose her, and you have feeling for that because you done followed these characters through several films, and now she's back, but it's supposed to take place in a timeline of before she died.
Before all
And,
that, man.
come on, no, man, that's not how you do things.
It's
Which
not.
that lets you know that there's the thing about, and it hurt Scarlett too, because she had a fan base, and when they did eventually release the film, it still, they did it on, what was it? They did it on streaming at the same time or something, and it ruined her box office.
I think we were still in COVID when they released it.
Yeah. So, just
I paid for it. I didn't see it in the theater. I paid for it here.
yeah.
I watched it for like $20 at the crib.
It like took money out of her purse, literally, for what she was supposed to get from the box office, and they ended up having to settle out of court to pay her money that she had coming to her, and she had to take them to court for it. She took Disney to court, not Kevin Feige, because that wasn't his decision. You know what I mean? It was the executive's decision how to release that, and they thought that they was scamming money on both ends and stuff like that, and just totally messed everything all up.
I'm glad she won. She deserves it.
Yeah,
she fan base, and they need to find a way to bring her back like they did Gamora. And I'm so sorry. I'm still stuck on that Taskmaster. For those of you that don't know.
Yeah, I was disappointed when I found that out, man. I was totally disappointed.
That character is so badass in the comic book. See, he's a B character in the comics, but let me tell you how cool this character is. He's a savant. He can watch your moves and absorb it. And he knows, like, he can go head up with the Avengers because he knows all their moves. And he's not even superhuman. He's like a savant. He could watch things and then just absorb it by watching it. And that's how badass that character is. And he's like they put him in a video game. And he has
there was a character kind of like that played by Vincent Cassell in Ocean's 12. Do you remember that guy that he played when he went into that museum to steal, and he was doing that little dance through them beams and stuff?
Yeah.
Contort his body and stuff. He was that kind of guy too. He was like really, he was on another level psychologically and everything. So
one of my first videos I'm gonna do for Bear Cave Entertainment, I told you with my buddy, he has over 200 statues, Marvel. And I'm gonna go to his crib and I'm gonna film all his statues. He has a Taskmaster. It's about maybe 13 inches tall. And this guy that owned this company, he used to do these statues. Man, the stuff that he put, you're gonna see it. I'm gonna show it to you first before I put it out, man. And the Taskmaster is about this tall, and it's comic book accurate. All the things he did was comic book accurate, and that is I always liked that character. I think that character came out maybe in the late 70s, early 80s. And when I saw them bring it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I said, "Oh shit, I like how they did that." And I'm watching the film, and the helmet comes off, and I'm like, "Oh man, come on, bro. Why'd they do that? It's fucking stupid. Stop it." But anyway, Eternals.
Yeah. There was another character in there in the Eternals film that I was wondering, what that was going to be like when they showed him from the comics, you
Ah,
know, Erisham, you know, the big giant one, the destroyer of worlds.
mhm.
Remember, they showed a glimpse of him in Guardians when
His
he
staff.
used that staff to
Yeah.
destroy that planet. He stumped it on the ground, and the people were running, and the planet just kind of exploded or whatever. But when they brought him into the film, I was quite impressed with what we saw.
Yeah, look, yeah, that was awesome, man.
I was quite impressed. We didn't see enough of him, but yeah,
That was definitely awesome, man. Let me tell you, Marvel, for the most part, 90% when they've brought these comic book characters to the screen, I have been impressed. I ain't even
yeah,
gonna lie about that. I've been very, very impressed. I mean, CGI, we've come a long way. They've done pretty well with casting. They've done pretty well. Things like this right here,
hmm
I couldn't imagine it any other way. And you know what I also appreciate, that this might be, and this is just, you're an artist like myself, you like to draw.
hmm
Did they not capture the essence of Jack Kirby's character creations in this film? This
Oh,
film in particular?
definitely, especially with those deviants, man.
Yeah.
Those suckers were scary. And remember when the one that started healing himself and
Mm-hmm.
then he modified almost into humanoid form?
Yep.
That was like crazy, man. I was enjoying that aspect of it, because and at the end of the film, when they were all gathered up and Cersei and Black Knight, Kit, they looked up into the sky and they saw these lights up in the sky,
Uh-huh.
and that was Erisham. And it was like he was standing beyond the earth out there looking down. Dude,
That would have
that
scared
was
me.
like, that was
That would have scared me. I'd have
crazy,
fainted.
man.
I'd have fainted.
Yeah.
I'd have fainted. I'd be like, nope, it's over. And I just
And
laid on
see,
the
you know
ground.
what? They never followed up on that because how do people look up and see something like that and it don't become news around the world?
Man, I mean, that's big beyond big. You look up, you're like, yo, what is that? Looking down. And at any point, he could just poke the earth and break it.
Dude, don't you remember in the first Guardians film when they were saying we got to go to nowhere, and when they flew and it was like the decapitated head of a celestial.
Celestial, yeah.
Like, they were
I was
flying
like,
through the eyeball. I was like, dude, that was crazy.
They never mentioned it then, but if you knew, you knew.
Right.
They said we're going to nowhere, and I said, that's a celestial's head, man. Who is that?
Yep.
I'm so nerdy. There was times where I had to go to my phone. I'm like, yo, who looks like that? And I'm going on my phone. I said, that's not him. That's not him. That's not him. They eventually explained who it is online.
Right.
But I said, oh man, they for the most part, again, as far as bringing characters to life, they've hit it on the head. What they do with the storyline is where we had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you speak of the ending of the film. Thanos' brother shows up. For those of you that don't know.
Yeah, Thanos' brother and
little goat dude.
Yeah, I forget what his name is, but he's played by Patton Oswalt. Yeah. That's gonna be very interesting, man. Because they're going to have to tell the story of what happened with Thanos' planet. And as you and I had discussed, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't show maybe one of the Celestials destroying Thanos' world.
Mm.
And you remember he was supposed to be banished by his people to a near moon. and he watched the destruction of the planet from where he was. That's
Right.
why he survived. And his brother wasn't there because he was on some kind of mission or whatever he was doing. So he wasn't on the home planet either. So everybody else died. And what
He
was
has celestial blood.
right. And what was interesting is that when in Infinity War, when he was fighting Stark and Doctor Strange and all of them, you remember him taking the moons and bringing them down?
Oh man, that
was
crazy.
Was that a crazy scene or what?
That was crazy. He looked at it and destroyed it and then started throwing. Man, come on, man.
Dude, Stark told him, throw another moon at me and I'm gonna lose it.
That was insane. Who does that? But they brought Thanos to life. Because
I thought that they did such a great job bringing him to life.
When you look at these characters in the comic, you kind of wonder, are they going to tone it down on a silver screen? And they didn't. There was only one thing that his purpose was switched around on a silver screen, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
He in the comic book, I would say he's a lot more dangerous than what he is in the
and psychotic.
Is he a lot more psychotic?
He was extremely intelligent in the MCU, but in the comics, he was like a madman. That's why they called him the Mad Titan.
Mad Titan. Yep.
And they still didn't flesh out for people who didn't understand what he meant when he said, that he and Stark were
cursed with knowledge.
Yeah, they were cursed with knowledge, kindred spirits in that degree. But I think that Thanos just, for the film, cinematically, he was awesome. And I remember, because they were still working on his final look, even when he appeared in that one scene, I think in Avengers Age of Ultron, the end credit scene where he comes in and puts on the Infinity Gauntlet and says, fine, I'll do it myself.
Right.
He didn't quite look like how they really wanted him to look. But by the time Infinity War rolled around, dude, do you remember the scene? Like, okay, when the film opens, he's on there. He has destroyed the Asgardian ship and all of that, and he and his army of troops or whatever, they talking shit, But do you remember when what's his name? Corbius Glaive handed him the stone?
Yeah.
And he was like, my master, the stone. And he took his helmet off. And he took his armor off. He looked like a real
person.
Being. You know what I mean? He looked like he didn't look like CGI. He looked like a real being. And the way the light was casted on him, and he grabbed the stone and he smashed the casing that it was in and blew the dust off and put it into the gun. Man, I was sitting in the theater like, dude, since 2012, when I saw him in that end credit scene and he turned toward the camera and smiled.
Been waiting for that. I'm
like, this guy is something.
Sidebar. Did you see Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
When he told Cable, he said, pipe down, Thanos.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off. I said, man, why they do that, man? He said, pipe down, Thanos. I said, oh, shit. Man, Deadpool is a trip, man. He's very important. He's very important to the MCU, though. I can't wait till they mix that up, man. I can't wait till we get to talking about that.
Which is why we didn't need She-Hulk, because you got Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need She-Hulk. You don't need multiple characters breaking the fourth wall. You don't. You just need the one who's the greatest at it, and that's Deadpool.
They almost fucked off Daredevil because they put him in that damn series.
You know what I think they're going to do with Deadpool?
Like, I mean, on Daredevil. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's going to do this movie they got coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know when we're going to see him again? In that Secret Wars. I think Deadpool going to show up and kill all the damn people.
But, like on some by accident stuff. Like,
yeah, and then the universe going to have to be rebooted You know, with
because of his dumb ass.
Yep, I think that's what's going to end up happening. And didn't something
funny.
like that happen in the comics too, though?
Yeah, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. It's like, yo, who wrote this? It's crazy. But something crazy will happen. It'll be a big old blip, and they'll be like, yo, who killed everybody? He'll be standing there like, huh? My bad.
Did I ever send you the clips of that brother that made the Deadpool video clips with the Deadpool toys?
No.
Dude, I've been meaning to send you that. He don't do them anymore, but he did a series of them. Drew, they funny as hell. They funny as hell, man. Check this out. I'm gonna pull something up real quick. This will have you cracking up, man.
Yeah, salute Jafar. They better get Dr. Doom right, because he is a problem. He is a problem. You can't mess up Dr. Doom. You got to get him right, for real, for real.
This right here, bro. It's the craziest thing, man. Hold on. I want to make sure I get the first one, because I was meaning to send you this, and it's so hilarious. It's from like 12, 13 years ago, bro. And this brother here, he called himself, it's just some random guy. But when he does these videos, Drew, and chat, they're so freaking funny, man. Check this out. I'm gonna share it here. I used to watch this and just crack up laughing. They were always great. He did several of these, but check this out.
Oh, God, please, man, don't!
Perhaps other appendages.
No, stop!
Make me stop.
But they'll kill me!
Herm, won't be much left to kill.
All right, fine, I'll talk!
Well?
Okay, the main guy, behind everything. His name is...
Oh, could that guy's voice have been more annoying? I mean, I'm totally invested in your character, and then he completely takes me out of the scene. Ugh. Anyway, I'm sorry. Did you want to finish him off, or should I?
Rorschach and Deadpool, not enough fool. He's a mental case. Music's not his thing. So I wrote the theme. I'm so talented. Copyright Deadpool. Copy and I'll sue. I think that the song should end right here. 2, 1.
If you shoot me, do I not heal?
I'll take what little satisfaction I can get. What are you doing here?
Well, I think I'm supposed to say I got hired to pop this guy's boss, but personally I think I'm here because our theme song became a minor internet meme. Gotta give the people what they want.
What?
I know, right? You want to put us together, fine, but at least justify it. I mean, where are we anyway? Is this my world? Is it yours? Does this have anything to do with the Hero Bar?
Spider-Man and the others don't seem to think so, but something about this man we're looking for feels off to me.
Ooh, continuity. Is he the guy who wants to make Watchmen 2?
Oh, I'll get to him, don't worry. First, we need to find this man's boss.
If only there was someone who could tell us where he is.
I was gonna tell him!
Yeah, someone who doesn't sound like Gilbert Gottfried in a garbage disposal. Hey, maybe if we pool our resources together, we can both find...
You're coming anyway, aren't you?
Yep.
One condition.
No nudity. Got it.
No, you can't be so picky about your informants. No shooting before information.
No problem.
His name is...
What time is it? Here's your pizza.
Who is he?
I'm sorry, but your delivery was way off. You're better than that.
Be right there.
Trench coat sale?
Hospital.
Sorry, I just meant to wing you.
Not for me. The first informant you shot just woke up.
What? There's our little trooper. When we get out of here, you can have all the ice cream you want.
Oh, God. Wasn't there security at the door?
Ah, sure, but hey, you know me. Pachoo, pachoo.
Remember, he already fears us. Now get him to trust us.
Okay, so tell us what we want to know, and you'll leave here with just the one gunshot wound. Or was it 2? I don't know more than 6. But you'll walk out of here alive. Probably. Well, maybe. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I should say for sure at this point, because he's going to want to break your fingers, and who knows what I'm going to do to you. So, anyway, the point is, you're going to die, we get the info, and everybody's happy. Except you, the dead guy. And don't worry, unless we find them, your family will be completely safe. But, full disclosure, we're actually really good at finding...
Dude, I was stopping right there.
Yeah, I think you should stop it, before you know. That is hilarious.
I told you though, it's like,
That is hilarious. I never saw that. But for those of you that don't know, that's how Deadpool is in the comics.
Yeah, and
that's what he is.
And that was years before they made the first Deadpool film. So people loved this guy who did those little vignettes with the toys, because that's exactly how Deadpool behaves. And man, he's got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views on those things. But and he did a series of them. He's got, I'm a Marvel, he's a DC, with all the toys, you know, talking and interacting. But Deadpool is the best one. But he's got several of them he's done. They are hilarious.
Big salute to my guy Rob Liefeld for creating Deadpool. New Mutants number 98. I think it was 1992 and 93. I have it airtight, air sealed. The first appearance of Deadpool. Rob Liefeld, one of my favorite artists. He ran the 90s with Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and Wills Potasio and Art Adams and Eric Larson. Woo! Those are my guys. Rob Liefeld created Deadpool. He created that character. Awesome stuff, man. That was funny.
Dude was like, is there any security in here? He's like, well, you know me. Pachoo, pachoo.
Oh, man. That is funny.
I had meant to send you that a while back. I had forgot to do it because I was like, man, I first ran across that like about 6 years ago, man.
Yeah, that's brilliant for him, man. That's funny. But they could reboot She-Hulk, because we could do without that shit. I can literally act like She-Hulk ain't happen. Literally. I mean, she broke the shit out the fourth wall in that last episode.
Yeah.
I said, oh fuck, I can't.
And you know what? The one episode that I didn't see was the episode when you told me she was twerking. I'm so glad I missed that show. I'm so glad. I never went back and watched it. I'm like, I ain't gonna watch that.
You know why they should kill it now? Because it may look like Meg Thee Stallion might do some time over this shooting stuff and lying. You know, lying in court. Yeah, and she was on She-Hulk twerking. Had She-Hulk saying, "Oh my God, you're my idol." Something she said. I'm like, man, I missed that, man. I saw it. I just like went to the next episode. And Daredevil bangs her, by the way, y'all. I'm ruining it. Matt Murdock bangs her in her lawyer form. And when they reboot Daredevil, there's gonna be a lot of episodes, man. I can't wait for that. Daredevil was one of the most solid series, Marvel series that was on Netflix. Now it's gonna be on Disney. But that was super solid.
It's not gonna be the same. When it was on Netflix, man, that was one of the best superhero series you could ever watch. That and Punisher.
Yeah.
Man, that Punisher series, man. I'm glad I got it all on Blu-ray too, because I can go back and watch that anytime I want, man.
Yeah, I think if they got new writers, and you know it's Disney. Although Disney is not what Disney used to be, they're gonna tone down the violence, because there was some things going on in that Netflix series that took me for a loop. Like, oh shoot, they're really doing that?
What I liked about the Daredevil series is that every time they had a big action sequence, they would do that one-shot camera movement.
Yeah.
that will
Yeah.
follow him down a corridor or down some stairs or whatever. It's like, I love that. That was very creative.
Yeah. I liked Luke Cage. I like the second season better than the first one. First season was
Do
pretty
you
good.
remember when he broke out of prison and he
That-
had on the outfit that looked like the
He
comic
said, I
book?
look like a damn fool. I was waiting for that. Me and my brother was watching that. I said, look. This is an album from the 70s. And he looked, he said, I look like a damn fool. I said, wow.
That was
like
so
that.
hilarious, man.
I like that though. That was dope. Iron Fist, the second season was a lot better. And they left us hanging. He had the fist in both hands at that point. And he charged it up in a gun. I was like, man, that's dope. But I like what they did with the Defenders. They called it Public Defenders. They're not quite super duper like the Avengers, but these guys are more street level.
Yeah.
So they were building a nice little universe. But yeah, Ken, you're not missing She-Hulk. You're not. I don't recommend it. That was trash. She-Hulk was trash. I could have did without it. They were calling it the MCU, Phase 4, the MCU, because there was so much gay undertones and female stuff that, bro.
What I liked about Luke Cage too was he liked to wear hoodies.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of like a slap back to the face of society and what they were doing to young black men in society wearing hoodies. And so Luke Cage donned hoodies, man. Yeah. And he was bulletproof.
Man, it was pretty good. But Daredevil was the best one by far. And he showed his human side because he was getting his ass kicked in a lot of those episodes.
Yeah.
He almost got killed a few times. And then he caught up with that guy like in like the 6th or 7th episode that made Kingpin suits that were bulletproof and knife proof. And that's how he came along. So that was pretty dope, man. I'm glad they put that.
It was nice how they added that to his, you know, because it was explaining how he don't get hurt and stuff as much, you know, or even get killed by a gunfire or something.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought it was pretty cool.
It was solid.
And his Elektra was pretty badass too.
Yeah.
He was treacherous.
Yeah, man, listen. That whole thing, the way they did it, that shit was dope, man. By the time they got to the Defenders, that final fight scene at the end, man, they could still do a Power Man and Iron Fist. They got to get some good writers, though.
Right.
They got to get some good writers. You know, they can do it. But I could do it. They could bring the character She-Hulk back. Just do her in cameos because I can't. It goofed it up, and the CGI wasn't that great. Horrible stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, let's get ready to wrap it up, bro, because I know you got your show coming. So.
Oh yeah.
Get ready.
Well, once again,
to the end this time, we'll give you a chance.
Once again, it's refreshing to do shows like this because we need a break from that other stuff that we cook on during the week. This is my childhood, my teenagehood. You know, I can remember exactly where I was when these characters were about. I still have a ton of comic books. Look, man, we're passionate about this because this is what kept me off the street. Believe it or not, I had no interest. You know, I had a lot of friends that thought this shit was corny and they'd rather hang around outside and get into trouble. You know, I hung around outside. I wasn't like sheltered or nothing like that, but you know, I was so creative. I have my own universe of cartoon characters that I've drawn. But this is what motivated me. I love listening or reading the stories and watching cartoons. I watch cartoons right now. To this day, I watch cartoons. And these are things that to me, it keeps you young. It keeps you fresh, and it's harmless. So fellas, if you're around a woman that thinks that this stuff is corny and how could you write this stuff, bear in mind, who writes these stories? Adults, right? Adults write these stories. So it comes from the mind of a creative person. This isn't any different than writing a damn book. You see our brother JC in the chat. He's creative. He's a writer. You know, he could write something and I'll put pen to paper and just make a cartoon out of it. We can have a hit. JC, we'll talk. You understand? But we this is our creative side. I have fun doing this. It's relaxing. You know, I got a lot of ideas. I'll talk to you behind the scene. You know, yeah, man, this is dope. I actually look forward to this show every Monday, man. And y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to Bear Cave Entertainment because I'm going to dedicate a whole channel to entertainment stuff, electronics, movies, wrestling, all of that stuff. That's going to be the channel. There shouldn't be any arguing over there. We're just going to kick our feet up and be men. Whole lot of dick and fart jokes over there and everything else, man. We're going to have fun over there. For real. Word up, Jafar. You know, I thought of that, right? Yo, Stormy, I'm going to do a Karate Kev character. I'm going to draw it and send it to 78. Karate Kev. That's going to be funny as hell.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Karate Kev in Harlem. Y'all want to see a Karate Kev in Manhattan? And at the end of the book, right? You know what? I ain't going to say what I'm going to do. I ain't going to say what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you, Stormy. Watch what I do. I'm going to write it. I'm telling you. It's going to be funny. It's going to be funny as hell.
Well, yeah, man, this is another great show, man. To be able to talk about these subjects and everything, like you say, it's an out toward our day-to-day stuff that we do and everything. But yeah, I'm just glad that we can have something else to offer our supporters, you know, and the people that follow us and everything. So, and this show is starting to really catch on. You know, we talked about how, you know, the last episode, last week's show, you know, the viewership picked up pretty good, you know, by the time the week ended, we had a lot of views. So appreciate everybody to come out and show that support and love like that, because lets us know that sometimes people just like to hear us talk about what we talk about. Sometimes people like to participate. You know what I mean? 'Cause we had almost 200 views off of the last show. So, and for this show, that was great. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope, man. This is cool, man. So next week we'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yeah. So for my man Drew Titan, this is Stormybman. We're gonna sign off to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button on the way out if you didn't while you were in here. Share it and be a nerd. Ain't nothing wrong with being a nerd. Shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.